We'll start here at Waterloo and go 50 miles down the main line. West Country 34021 Dartmoor is arriving from 9 Elms Loco to couple on to the all-Pullman Bournemouth Bell. A Pullman train was luxury travel. One paid a supplementary charge to the Pullman company, owners of the coaches, in addition to the normal fare. First-class Pullman cars were named, second-class ones numbered. Departing trains were usually helped by a good push from the loco which had brought in the stock. An unrebuilt Bullied Pacific is leaving, beyond the rebuilt Battle of Britain. A BR Standard 5 backs in, to depart with a semi-fast to Basingstoke. Now we'll set off down the line, watching passing trains from each successive station. A wooden-bodied electric on the Windsor side seems to be racing a lightly loaded Pacific. This Merchant Navy's load is even lighter, empty vans to Clapham Junction. That's the empty stock for the Bournemouth Bell. Must be a peak Saturday. It's strengthened with 2 ordinary coaches. Mr. Bullied, the last Chief Mechanical Engineer of the Southern Railway, takes the design credit for the loco and the coaches of this heavy Bournemouth Express. Big Ben's just visible through the haze. 2 baggage vans behind the engine on this boat train from Southampton docks. A BR Standard Class 3 takes empty stock to Clapham Yard. Renamed Queenstown Road in 1980, platforms here are only on the Windsor lines. The engine is on the exit road from 9 Elms Goods Yard. That was converted from the original Vauxhall terminus of the London and Southampton Railway. The Waterloo extension had to be shoehorned into an already built-up area, hence the several sharp curves, in contrast to the route west of here. Britain's busiest station mostly comprises 3 parallel 4-track main lines. Comparatively little traffic ran to or from the West London line. There was also the stabling depot for loco-hauled carriages. By Earlsfield we're down to just the 4 tracks of the South Western main line. Here we see rebuilt Merchant Navy Pacifics on down and up Bournemouth Expresses. This is one of the lighter Pacifics, a Battle of Britain. Light engine to Wimbledon. Why? Extra seating for home-going commuters is provided by the non-corridor coaches in the middle of this semi-fast to Basingstoke. A southeastern N-Class 260 with a train of coal wagons, probably loco coal for 9 Elms Motive Power Depot. Everything else is stopped, while a Q1 austerity crosses with the daily empty milk tanks from express dairies at St Helier. A BR Standard Class 5 is superpower indeed for 3 wagons of domestic coal, leaving Wimbledon's small yard for the St Helier and Sutton line. Another Bournemouth Express passes Wimbledon's 3rd mechanical signal box, Wimbledon C. This time the commuters have a BR Standard 4 on their Basingstoke semi-fast. Camelford, a rebuilt West Country, passes on the up. West of Wimbledon's flyover, the slow lines are outside the fast lines. London side of Wimbledon, the slow lines are on the south side. This arrangement fits with a grouping of suburban and mainline terminal platforms at Waterloo. Brocklebank line has come from the Salisbury direction. Typical of the Southern Railway's economical style, this station opened in 1933 to serve a large new housing development. The Merchant Navy seems to be neck and neck with the Electric for Guildford via Cobham. Down steamers would be up to speed by here. An unrebuilt Pacific had become a rarity by 1964. Peninsula and Orient line has got a bad road on the up fast. Lamport and Holt line. We almost missed this S15 sneaking quietly up the slow line. Dorchester looks in superb condition. The name Blue Funnel seems inappropriate for this rebuilt Merchant Navy. 34036 Westward Ho. This station's closer to Sandown Park Racecourse than to Esher Village. This has strayed from the western region. Up trains are running through slowly as there seems to be some signal engineering work in progress. "35001 Channel Packet is on the bell today." Another economy station of the 1930s. 73112 Morgan Le Fay on a Basingstoke semi-fast. And on this up Basingstoke semi, 34025 Wimple. We just can't identify this Merchant Navy, reduced to a crawl on the up slow line. A junction with a bay on the upside for Chertsey branch trains. Still with a bullied air-smoothed casing, 141 Squadron. 35030, the last Merchant Navy, Elder Dempster lines. "34031 Torrington is hauling stock of the former LMS railway, presumably a special routed via the West London line, East Putney and Wimbledon. Now why is this on the slow line? At Byfleet and Newhaugh, the view west is now dominated by the viaduct carrying the M25 across the line. To the east, the spur towards Chertsey was formerly busy with freight to Feltham Yard. West Byfleet is unusual in having two down platforms but only one on the upside. A special boat train for Southampton Docks via Millbrook. First stop for a Basingstoke semi-fast, overtaken here by an express for the Salisbury line. 35006 Peninsula and Orient departs on 1 yellow. There'll be an up train from the Portsmouth line crossing ahead. 34086 219 Squadron. 34022 Exmoor. Standard Class 5, number 73067. Warship diesel hydraulics would soon power the Waterloo Exeters, so this would be here for driver training. Cunard White Star crossing slow to fast at the west end, while this one will probably cross at the east end. Relieving the monotony, a Uri S15, one of 4 with 6-wheel tenders, intended for the Southern Railway's central section as the Brighton Company's lines became. The same train departs for Waterloo. 34008 Padstow arrives and departs. This U-class mogul was rebuilt in 1928 from one of the SC&C's ill-fated River-class tanks, whereas this one was built as a U-class. We shall jump on down the main line to the next station, as at filming it was the furthest electrified along the main line, a light Pacific on an Exeter. They could find only a standard Class 5 for this boat special to Southampton docks. We'll take a short ride behind this Maunsell mogul. An ad for Strong's Brewery at Romsey. Purbright, junction of the electrified Aldershot line. The pneumatically powered signals date from Edwardian days. Spurs to the Camberley line would soon be closed. The train by which we came departs. As Farnborough was outside the electrified area at filming, the cameraman was able to use his lineside photography permit from here onwards. 35028 Clan Line later preserved and restored for mainline specials. Many stations were still gaslit in 1964. BR Standard 5s hauled 2 up trains in quick succession. These semaphore signals were operated by compressed air, controlled by electrically operated valves. Between stations they were automatic, governed by the passage of trains through track circuits. Then named Shapley Heath, this was the temporary terminus when the line opened in 1838. 34044 Woolacombe. At filming, both up lines had a temporary speed restriction, allowing a longer view of passing trains. 35013 Blue Funnel on an up Salisbury Line Express. The West Country come Battle of Britain class were a slightly lighter design for routes with weight restrictions. This is 34108 Wincanton. Another Maunsell mogul arrives at Hook with a down stopper. Nice and clean 35024 East Asiatic Company is on the Bournemouth Bell today. Bullied Pacifics arrived in 1941, contemporary with a wartime meat delicacy, Spam. With their unconventional casings, the new engines were soon nicknamed Spam Cans. Platforms for the fast lines at these wayside stations had long been disused, leaving an empty wideway between the up and down sides. The electro-pneumatic signalling was controlled from pull-slide frames of American manufacture. Watch carefully how the signals return to danger. Mechanical semaphores had a device to move both stop and distant arms together. By now, many of the old signals had been replaced by upper quadrants. Although there was still a magnificent gantry of Edwardian lower quadrants at the London end of Basingstoke's Barton Mill carriage sidings. 213 Squadron is being delayed. The old lower quadrants were just as liable to momentarily show the odd indication. The ringed arms of the siding exit signal were now very rare. The downline delay is also affecting 34024 Tamar Valley. In 1964 you could still travel in a Southern Railway Maunsell coach of the 1920s. As we make our way to Basingstoke station beside the Long Valley siding, 2 down trains pass. That delay is now no more. 34025 Wimpole on an up boat special. These signals are visible both over and under the bridge. 34022 Exmoor. The former Great Western branch from Reading adds much interest. One of those engines with copper-capped chimneys arrives with a through train from points north to South Coast holiday resorts. In the opposite direction, the Bournemouth to Manchester Pines Express will probably be hauled by Sir Keith Park as far as Oxford. This train had been diverted a few years previously from the Somerset and Dorset line. This unusual head code can only mean it's a special. Standard Class 5s also took a turn on what later became intercity cross-country. Having probably waited for a gap in the mainline traffic, 6858 Woolston Grange crosses to the down slow line. A Uri 460 simmers in the upsiding as a Battle of Britain rushes by. The first coaches of this train are of LNER origin. This upside loop for returning GWR engines has gone long ago. A rare Western Region tubular signal post with southern type signals. We move on to see operations at the west end of Basingstoke. (34016) Bodmin. Through trains from the Western sometimes changed engines here. 7929 Whitehall, the last hall built. Sir Keith Park on a northbound cross-country. Rain has forced the cameraman to work from the window of Basingstoke B signal box as 73111 passes. 34058 Sir Frederick Pyle. A bullied loco, but all LNER coaches. An articulated pair is leading. Now we have an unidentifiable Great Western engine on an otherwise wholly LNER train. As the rain stopped, we'll continue down the line. 34057 Biggin Hill passes on a Bournemouth. At 50 1/4 miles from Waterloo, this is where the Salisbury line leaves the older Southampton route. Conductor rails are already in place as this Portsmouth-bound cross-country nears Worting. This was the first junction to receive points with a turnout speed as high as 60 miles an hour. The Bournemouth Bell, hauled today by a grubby merchant navy, demonstrates the effect by crossing from the Downfast to the Southampton line. They're still using that Western Region van as its livery matches the Pullman's. A northbound cross-country. A kink in the up Southampton line allows a straight run to the convergence into the up fast line where it leaves the flyover after crossing above the Salisbury route. Whereas from Southampton to the up slow will have a lower speed restriction over the turnout. In heavy rain, an up West Country express with a West Country class engine and an odd mix of coaches. We'll leave this review of 1960s everyday steam on the main line west of Waterloo with a second crossing over at 60 miles an hour.